think it was in 2014, 2015, Germany received over 1 million Syrian refugees.
2015.
And broadly speaking, what percentage of them have been assessed as refugees as distinct from economic migrants?
My guess would be that a rather small minority of the people who have actually come in will at the end be recognized as bona fide asylum seekers, granted asylum in Germany. That doesn't mean, however, that all the others will be kicked out, so to speak. There are even many cases where people are officially supposed to leave Germany under court order, but they don't. And the authorities then hesitate to handcuff these people and forcibly send them back to places like Afghanistan. There's a big debate in Germany going on between the various political camps. Is it okay to send a person back to a place where there is a war going on?
Germany, I think, made itself prominent and, from my point of view, great by receiving so many Syrian refugees and welcoming them. And I have the impression that Angela Merkel recognised the demographic benefits of having young, fit, healthy people arriving into a population which is ageing.
I would roundly reject the idea that that was part of the motivation. Look, for a German of my generation, the idea of a wall, the idea of building walls, as Donald Trump proposes in the case of Mexico, is horrible. We had a wall right through Germany, right through Berlin. And I think for Angela Merkel, under the impression of hundreds of thousands of people waiting at our borders, keeping the doors closed or erecting fences to keep them out was just not doable. So I think that if you consider recent German history, for Angela Merkel, it was the obvious and the natural thing to do.
My impression is that she understands that what she is doing is in part trying to preserve the soul of the country, what the country stands for.
Absolutely, absolutely. And, for a country that has been a perpetrator of genocide, of mass expulsion, of war, etc. The idea that after all these terrible things that happened in the first half of the 20th century, Germany should now set, when we can, examples of decency, not only of lawful behavior, but of decency and of humanitarian openness, is for this country, hopefully also in the future, a unifying idea, not a dividing idea.
And then the climate seems to have changed. Groups, perhaps from the right, began to resist the idea of more people coming into Germany.
Even before the 2015 flood, so to speak, of course, there was in Germany political parties who were trying to stop immigration on principled grounds, maintaining identity, maintaining, the idea of a Christian way of life, sort of the hardcore nationalistic ideas. The more recent problem is that because of the uncontrolled inflow of such a large number of people, not sufficiently checked in terms of their criminal record, their identity maybe as a hidden member of a terrorist group in some extreme cases, has led to accusation against the government, against Angela Merkel personally, that by opening the floodgates, she actually facilitated the inflow of bad people. In other words, have things gotten worse in terms of domestic security and in terms of defending against terrorism because of the 2015 opening of the floodgates. So these are two distinct categories. They come together and they are changing the political landscape. I think no responsible politician would like to repeat what we did on humanitarian grounds, mostly welcomed in 2015. Nobody, even Angela Merkel, wouldn't want to repeat that today because the number of people who would be opposed to that has grown significantly.
The point of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and then the Refugees Convention was to spread the load of refugees rather than leaving it to the adjacent countries. We seem to have gone back to the situation that existed before the Second World War.
Unfortunately, the European Union, when this happened in 2015, as a consequence, as you say, of conflict and war in Syria and in other places, unfortunately turned out to be unable to agree on a scheme how to distribute these people across the EU. The idea of regarding this as a shared responsibility, which should not only be carried by those who are unfortunate enough to have borders on the Mediterranean, the idea of sharing this responsibility was not going to be implemented. Not only have we not agreed a European-wide scheme to deal with the refugees, we've also not been able to agree a strategy how to end the war in Syria, or more recently, the one in Libya. The countries who are currently actively engaged in trying to figure out a way to end the war are Turkey, Russia, to a certain extent, of course, the United States. Where is the European Union? All the refugees are coming here. So my criticism is that the EU should actually be the principal actor in trying to make peace in Syria. We should call for a peace conference.
Well, I have to say, viewed from Australia, a long way away, Germany's response, initially at least, was admirable. And perhaps because Germany has an active memory of what the alternative course is. Ambassador Ischinger, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.